Hi, everyone. This week, we celebrate the last week of the church year. This week, we celebrate Christ, the King of the universe. And next week, we start a brand new church year with Advent. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. While the crowd stood there watching Jesus, the leaders insulted him by saying, "He saved others. Now he should save himself if he really is God's chosen Messiah." The soldiers made fun of Jesus and brought him some wine. They said, "If you are the King of the Jews, save yourself." Above him was a sign that said, "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals hanging there also insulted Jesus by saying, "Are you the Messiah? Save yourself and save us." But the other criminal told the first one off. "Don't you fear God? Aren't you getting the same punishment as this man? We got what was coming to us, but he didn't do anything wrong." Then he said to Jesus, "Remember me when you come into power." Jesus replied, "I promise that today you will be with me in paradise." The Gospel of the Lord. In this week's Gospel, we hear about the end of Jesus' life where he's hanging on the cross. He's being made fun of by the soldiers and by one of the criminals next to him. I wonder how it is possible that we are celebrating Jesus as the King of the universe today. He doesn't sound like a king in this gospel reading. Usually the king has the soldiers follow his orders, not make fun of him. Then something happens. One of the criminals next to him tells the other criminal not to make fun of Jesus. He reminds him that while they both committed crimes, Jesus did not commit a crime and he does not deserve to be hanging there with them. He then turns to Jesus and asks him to remember him when he comes into power. Okay, so Jesus is the king for this one person. Imagine that, his whole life helping so many people with crowds following him, and finally at the end, his kingdom is of one person who was a criminal but was able to recognize how special Jesus was next to him. Jesus promised the criminal that he would be with him in paradise. So how was Jesus the King of the universe, with just one person following him at the end? Well, this is the great mystery of God. Although the King of the universe, Jesus was willing to suffer and even be made fun of and nearly alone at the end. But he wasn't alone. And whenever we think Jesus' kingdom is weak, we need to remember there was always at least one person following him, even on the cross. We should also remember who that one person was, a criminal. He wasn't any different from the other criminal, except that he recognized how special Jesus was and was led into his kingdom. We too can have failures and make lots of mistakes like the criminal, but the one thing that matters is if we recognize how special Jesus is. And if we do, he will let us into his kingdom too. What an unusual king. He cared just as much about that one criminal next to him who wanted to follow him as he did for all the crowds. He can be the king for each of us too. Even if we have done something wrong, when we ask Jesus to be our king, he will be. What kind of king is Jesus to you?